sample contract in the Word version. Please, if you can see it, respond so that I know that you can see it.
Yeah,
Hello?
we can see.
You can see it. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a bit small.
It's small.
Yeah, if you can increase your zoom a bit.
Okay. Is it better?
It's
Is it better?
increasable. Increase
I should
more.
increase further. Okay. So I think this is the best I can do. Okay, so I've extracted it into a Word version, and you in the performance contract, of course, you have the details of the employee, the name, the staff number, job title, department line manager, period contracted, and then this is a field one, so we have actually the score. But you see the key performance indicators. So companies can actually put a weighting on each of the indicators. So in this case, you see that the financial is weighting 20. The weight on the financial perspective is 25%, customer 25%, internal business processes is 20, innovation and learning is 20. Yeah. So under the financial perspective, so this person is an administrative officer at the Career Services Center, and under the financial perspective, the indicator is budget utilization efficiency. The target for that is 95%. Okay, so if you look at, I'll go back to that template, the Excel template that I shared in the presentation. You realize that there's a place where you put in the target, and on that same template, when you come to the actual, there's a place where you indicate the score during mid-year review, and during the end of year review, there's also a place where you indicate the score. But you realize that we have the indicator budget utilization efficiency, and the target is 95%. My focus is not on the achievement though, but is so that you see how the indicators are set under the various perspectives and how the targets are also set. Under the customer perspective, for this employee who is an administrative officer, one of the indicators is student satisfaction with services. Student satisfaction with services. And the target that is set for this employee is 85%. And as managers or as supervisors, you must be mindful that any indicator and target set should have a way of verification. We have what we call the portfolio of evidence. So once the target is set, student satisfaction with services, you should be able to determine how that or the measure, how would you determine if this goal has been achieved. So student satisfaction with services, the employee is supposed to be able to meet a target of 85%. So you could have a survey tool that will allow employees to provide feedback on the services that they have received. And once you you receive the feedback, you do your calculations, the employee is supposed to score not less than 85%. When you go under internal business processes, for this particular employee, the KPI is timely processing of requests, and the target is 90%. Okay. When you go under innovation and learning, where the development and growth of the employee comes to play, the target set for this employee is participation in training and improvement initiatives. And the target is the employee at the end of the performance period should have participated in a minimum of 3 trainings. 3 training and improvement initiatives. Okay. Okay. Then you come to the behavioral requirements. So like I mentioned, the behavioral requirements stem from the core values of the organization. So you see here, we have teamwork, communication, professionalism. And organizations even go further to describe, the values. So if you score highly on teamwork, it means that you are somebody who collaborates effectively with your colleagues. If you're scoring highly on communication, it means that you communicate clearly with students and with staff. So that's the portion of the scorecard that deals with the behavioral competencies. Okay, then on the balance scorecard, we will still the core job responsibilities of the employee will be indicated there, just to guide the manager to set goals that are within the remit of the employee's duties. Then we have developmental plans. Okay, so the development needs of the employee improve data reporting and analysis skills. So we have specific dates and actions that are required, the employee is required to undertake to be able to meet those development needs. And of course, you realize that the performance contract ends with the endorsement of both the employee and both the employee and the line manager. Okay. Are there any questions at this point?
Yes, madam. Just a moment before we listen to questions, that you should put your slides on the presentation mode, because
okay.
Yes. Sorry.
That's fine.
So I don't know whether the hands that are raised here are inadvertent, or you want to ask a question. I have seen Genesis Azum. If you want to ask a question, kindly do. Rashid Mohammed, this hands has been up for a long time. So please, the hands that are raised, in case you have a question at this point, kindly go ahead. Please, is there a question at this point? Hello, please, if you have a question, kindly unmute before you talk. Hello, if you have a question, unmute and speak, please.
Perfecting reading on the training grounds. Control.
Hello, sir.
So you can now talk. The host has.
Sir, I want to ask my question. Sorry, I couldn't unmute because we are not allowed.
Yeah, the host muted all participants.
Okay, so please, I want to find out how often should how often should PM occur in an organization? That's my question, please.
To answer that question, as I indicated at the beginning, performance management is an ongoing process. If you say performance, how often should performance management occur? Performance management is an ongoing process. It occurs throughout the year, and like I indicated, it begins with the objective setting process or the planning phase, and which happens typically towards the end of the year and dovetails into the following year, and then it continues with monitoring. So I think that the question you really want to ask is appraisals. The appraisals. Typically, appraisals are held twice in a year. So we have the mid-year appraisal, and then we have the end of year appraisal. So appraisals happen twice, which is part of the measuring component. But monitoring goes on throughout the year. Some companies even have monthly review meetings. Some companies do quarterly review meetings. So the quarterly review meetings means at the end of every quarter, there's a review meeting, and others will do a monthly review meeting. However, the process of providing feedback to the employee should happen regularly. It can happen monthly
Which
or
this is like this. No.
bi-weekly. So as for performance management, it's an ongoing process, but appraisals typically take place twice in a year, and then monitoring either quarterly or monthly. I
Okay.
hope your question.
Madam,
Yes.
please, I want to find out. Maybe you may want to use your context, but in the performance management processes, so who are the critical players that come to bear? Those who are supposed to be doing the actors. I mean, those who are supposed to be doing that, or better still, the coordinators or whoever, the players that come, that critical people that are supposed to. You may want to use your context as far as KNUSC is concerned, or maybe you pick an organization to help us probably understand it.
Yeah, I think that I actually had a slide on stakeholders, which I skipped. Okay, so I will take out, let's say, the customers or community, but just to answer your question, like I indicated, the strategy of the entire performance, the strategy comes from the shareholders. You have your shareholders setting the strategy or the directors of the organization setting the strategy or the vision. Okay, in some cases, they are involved in the strategic planning, but most often is the management of the organization that comes up with the strategy. But the vision comes from the directors or the shareholders. And out of, to support the vision, management will come up with the strategy. You see, when you see performance management from that perspective, you realize that it is not just, there are several actors. So the vision is coming from the shareholders and the directors. Then management comes up with a strategy. Management again goes, they attend the strategy session and come up with the yearly strategic goals. The yearly strategic goals are cascaded down to departmental goals. So then you have departmental heads coming in. Then the goals are further cascaded down to individual goals. Then you have line managers or supervisors coming in, and all employees also coming in. Okay. So when you look at the performance contracts that I shared, that is going to be signed by the employee and the supervisor. Okay. However, the supervisor, is constantly providing feedback, but HR, human resources, the human resources department, has that responsibility of ensuring that this entire process takes place. HR has various functions within an organization. Resourcing is a function of human resources. capacity building is a function of human resources. Performance management is also a function of human resources. So HR has that responsibility to ensure that the organization is performing and ensure that the performance management within the organization is being implemented effectively. So managers, are involved because they have to supervise, their staff to attain the goals. But HR is like that
Return
party
on investment.
that is
Oh, Charlie, I
watching
shouldn't have missed this
to
thing.
ensure that so HR is constantly, supervising and watching to ensure that the performance management system is being implemented. Please, is your question answered?
Please. Just a moment. Somebody is disturbing us. I'm trying to figure out who the person is.
It's Abigail.
Mute her before we take the next question.
It's Abigail Boaje.
Abigail, kindly mute, please. Okay, thank you. So, Madam was asking if your question is answered. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, co-host, I beg, when the question is asked, after the question, you mute everybody so we can hear Madam speaking, then we continue after that.
I didn't hear that.
When somebody asks a question, after the question, then mute everybody so we can hear Madam speaking, then after that we can mute for another question.
Okay, that's
so Genesis is online. I want to ask a question.
Okay. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. My question is about the difference between appraisal and then performance management.
Okay.
Where I work by end of December, early January, I would have sat with my immediate supervisor, and we agree on the targets and set them. And as we set the targets are reviewed half yearly. But before the half yearly, I would have been writing monthly reports with regards to what I do until the end of year that we do the final review.
Yeah.
Now, what Madam described about the performance contracts, I see almost everything in the kind of appraisal I do. So I'm struggling to find out what exactly differentiates the performance contract from the kind of appraisal I do in the office.
Okay. Okay, so let me explain. You see, the appraisal, let me use this. I was going to come to the monitoring part. So let me go back to the components of a performance management system. So you've indicated appraisal, but you didn't just mention appraisal. You also mentioned the objective setting process. You mentioned that by January, you would have sat down with your supervisor to agree the objectives. Good. So that is the planning process. The planning process is where you sit down with your supervisor to agree what is expected of you, the performance expected of you by the end of the year or throughout the year. However, you mentioned writing of reports. I'll go back to the monitoring schedule. The writing of reports, it falls under monitoring. That is the monthly. Some companies do monthly review, and the review is just so that you don't wait till it's time for appraisal before you are shocked that your employee has not performed. You are checking in constantly on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis just to make sure that the targets that you set for the employee is actually on course. So at the end of such review meetings, you would have to present a report to your boss. Your boss will also present reports, to his or her heads, indicating what is happening. Okay. So that monthly reporting is part of the monitoring. It normally will take place after, let's say, you had a conversation with your boss on your target. So what's happening? Target A, how far have you gone with that? Okay, share with me a report of what you've done. That is part of the monitoring process. The appraisal that takes place mid-year and at the end of the year, it falls under measuring. That is actually, it is guided by a rating scale. We will delve into that. So where you have your appraisal, we have come to the measuring part. So let me quickly look at the schedule that, let me share with you the schedule, monitoring schedule. Good. I don't know if you see on your screens the monitoring schedule, but this is a schedule that most HR directors will use to ensure that the performance management system is being adhered.
Can I throw it?
So you see that after the planning process, there's the quarterly review. Then after quarterly review, there's quarterly review report. For some companies, it's not a quarterly review, but it's a monthly
Sorry
review.
for chipping in. Please,
After
can I throw it to my question after you are done?
After the monthly reviews, you have the monthly review report. Okay, so the reports that you are presenting on a monthly basis forms part of the review. But where you feel your supervisor has a conversation with you about your performance and you are actually rated using the performance appraisal template, then that is an appraisal. Please, I hope you understand. So the entire performance management system is a series of processes. Please, I hope your question
just a
is
moment
answered.
for me to mute everybody and kindly usually wait for her to land before you attempt to ask a question.
Yes, please.
Okay, so if there is any other person who want to ask a question, kindly do.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Go back to the performance.
Yes, sorry. Oh, someone is in already.
Please, is it Musiliatu who is speaking? Please, is it Musiliatu who is speaking?
She came in before me, so she can throw it a question.
Musiliatu, please.
All right.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Musi. All right, please. I wanted to find out the recorded section of this meeting will be shared with us. Please, did you get that?
Madam got that, but I didn't get it. If you can say again.
I think she's asking if the recorded session will be shared with them.
Hello.
Host, please. Yes, please. We've heard you now. That will be sorted after the meeting. I'm sure the host will share the recorded version with us.
And secondly,
hello,
Madam Selina.
Hello.
Yes.
Please wait. Madam is still on the line.
Can I go ahead?
Okay, please, can I ask
a
question?
No, please. Kindly
Sure,
wait for
thank
her
you.
to finish.
Very sorry for chipping. My phone is critically low. That's why I want to chip in my question before I go off. Thank you for the opportunity. Please, this is a question that I have for you, Madam Selina. I want to know your typical approach to translating a high-level business objective into a 90-day operational plan with clear, honest milestone and also KPIC. That's the key performance indicators. Thank you.
Okay, please come with the question again.
Okay, so I'm sending it on the chat so that we can all easily see it. I'm flowing the question again, and it says that what's your typical approach to translating a high-level business objective into a 90-day operational plan with a clear, honest milestone and KPIC?
Senior one, where is this question from? White elephant. This
Hello.
question. Where is this question coming from? White elephant. Is it are you a consultant and there is a task and then you want us to help you?
Oh, no, not really. I was doing a search about the KPIC, so I came across this question. Then it happened to me to ask on the page. Maybe if you can come with a clear answer so that I can understand it very well.
Okay.
This question is an
Madam,
assignment too.
It sounds like
no, it was a research
assignment.
that I was doing. That's why I came by this question. That's why it's not a research question or something.
All right. So
that's an interesting question. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at the question in the chat box. It says that your typical approach to translating a high-level business objective into a 9-day oh, sorry, there's something on the screen. A 9-day or please can you help our operational plan with clear owners, milestones. I didn't get the rest, but let me share with you.
Madam, kindly unmute before you continue. I was compelled to mute everybody.
That is fine. Yeah, so I just want to share my experience with supporting organizations to cascade down, high-level business objectives, which So I'll indicate some keywords from your question. Just give me a second. A few things blocking my screen, and I'm unable to pick the entire question. But my experience with organizations cascading down, like I have shared, organizations will typically have a management strategy session. Okay. And at the strategy session, the goals, the high level business, so you already have the high level business objective. So it's actually through through a session of conversations with management. So normally you would have a consultant, an experienced consultant guiding this process, but you have the managers, available. You have the high level goal, and then you try to identify what each departmental head or each manager available needs or what each department needs to do to contribute to that goal. So like I said, if you are supported by a tool that makes it easy for you to derive the key performance indicators, like a balance scorecard, at such a gathering of the managers, I expect questions such as, to achieve this objective, what does every department need to contribute? What does the Department of, let's say, Finance need to contribute? Then you are able to set clear goals for each of the departments. And of course, as part of setting the goals, you have to determine, you have the clear owners. So the approach I would use is a series of strategy sessions. First, strategy sessions, and then cascading it down to operational. You mentioned operational objectives. So after the high level discussions have been exhausted, you would have now departmental heads having the discussions with their teams. So you let me take you through the various levels within an organization. We have the strategic level of operation. Then we have the tactical level of operation. Then we have those at the operational level. So normally management will have the strategy sessions. Then heads of department will sit with their subordinates to have discussions on how to now translate the departmental goals into operational goals. So from my experience, it begins with high-level discussions with senior management, and then out of that high-level discussions, departmental heads will now sit with their departments and then derive their operational objectives from the strategic objectives. I don't know if that answers your questions, but from my experience, is a series of team meetings, strategy sessions, and team meetings guided by the right performance instruments. And if you have the right performance instruments, there should be sections where you assign the accountabilities as well. But it's typically strategic meetings, and then sessions that departmental heads will have with their teams, guided by the right consultants and the right tools or performance setting tools. That's the approach that I would recommend. That's the approach that I would recommend. And the balance scorecard approach
Madam Selina, kindly unmute. I had to mute everybody.
Okay. Yeah, so just to conclude on that question, from my experience, it's strategy sessions with senior management, followed by discussions by departmental heads with their teams to set operational objectives, guided by the right consultants and the right objective setting tools or performance management tools and templates. Those templates will allow you to set the operational goals and to also indicate the owners or people who are accountable for the targets that are set. Just the balance scorecard approach, one of the downsides of that is that it's heavily criticized for the top, down approach. And to cater or to mitigate that weakness, a lot of senior management members or heads of department will go into strategic sessions with feedback from the previous year from their employees. So that's my answer. I don't know if it sufficiently, addresses the question that you have asked.
Thank you. I'm very satisfied with this one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Madam, should we continue to take a few questions, or you would want to
We can
continue?
we can continue to take questions, and then maybe
All
for
right.
the next 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'll continue.
The next 25.
I said the next 3 to 5 minutes, please.
Oh, okay. Then maybe just one question, because Sir Eben, if you are there,
Hello.
kindly.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam, and all of you, my colleagues. Thank you so much for the time. Please, my question has been answered during the answering to some of the questions, but I have another concern that has to do with Madam's presentation setting. I think along the way we all got lost, myself. So some of the things that he was saying, we couldn't fathom where he was getting information from. So please, and we kept on asking. So I don't know, whoever is the moderator, we are pleading with you. Kindly be checking the messages, because we are all muted, so that you can address some of these issues on time. Because I know most of us got lost along the way, but we are now back. So we want the second session. Please kindly be going through the test message to see our concerns shown there. Because go to a point, I'm using laptop, I'm in the house, but yes, still some of the fonts I couldn't even see it at all. So we are pleading, if you can use a slideshow for us, so that it can be bold, we'll be very grateful. So that's what we want to ask. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. I think she's just done that, and sorry about that. I was called and my attention was drawn to it. That is why I did a needful. Sorry about that. Thanks for the observation and comments.
Hello, sir.
So on that note, Madam, should we continue, or we should take one more question?
Hello, we can take the last question, and then we can take the last question.
All right.
Hello, sir.
So NLJP.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is with the performance appraiser. I do know, or I want to know, group performance and individual performance. How do they relate as far as the organizational structure for their performance appraisals? How do the two interact? Because you may have some departmental KPIs appearing on the individual KPIs, of which the individual may not be responsible for such KPIs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the question is that if you're looking at group targets and then individual targets.
Correct. You know, the individual target usually comes from their contract letters. Your KPIs are well established in your contract letter. And because of hierarchies, HODs are also responsible for the total performance of the department. And I'm trying to find out. Yeah. All right.
I understand that perfectly. And I would like to give an example of that. But before I do, I would like to state, if a target, if you don't own a target, there's no reason why it should be on your. I don't know if you're talking about KPIs. It's okay for the KPIs to appear and for your target not to be set. For if you don't have a target for that particular KPI, they may not set a target. They may not set a target for you. But even the KPIs that appear on your scorecard should be KPIs that are linked to your work. Okay, so I understand perfectly. So let's take the financial perspective, for instance. Let's say a sales head of sales has the target of, let's say, 100,000 for the entire year. It is possible for the head of sales to cascade that target down to his sales manager. Let's say there are 3 sales managers. What managers? What some of the heads will do is that they will set an ambitious target for you. So if his target is say 100,000, and there are 3 sales managers, it's possible for the head of sales to assign a target of 100,000 for all 3 sales managers. If you are not able to meet that target and each of you do half of that target, it means that the head of sales has exceeded his target by say 50,000. So that 100,000 is a target for the entire department. It's sitting on the scorecard of the head of sales, but the 100,000 could also sit on the scorecard of the sales manager, because that is what his boss is accountable for. But if it's sitting on the scorecard of the sales manager, then it is also the target of the sales manager. So if a target is not your target, there's no reason why it should sit on your scorecard. When it comes to the development aspect, there could be indicators that are for the entire organization. Let's say the learning and growth target. It could be, you could have that, you could have that indicator, you could have that target, and once the entire organization achieves it, everybody has achieved it. If it's the entire organization does not achieve it, you have not achieved that. But when we come to goals that are cascaded down, like financial targets, I would say that as long as it may be the target for the entire department, but as long as you've had a conversation with your supervisor and you are required to achieve it as a personal target, then that is, a personal target that you should strive to achieve. It is possible for your supervisor to indicate group targets. Let's say the entire group, let's say your individual target, financial target is 50,000, but there's a particular project that all 3 sales managers are working on, and all 3 of you are supposed to, let's say, raise 200,000 for it. That group target can also be indicated there. Once the entire group achieves the target, you have achieved the target. But if the entire group fails to achieve the target, you have also failed to achieve the target. So it's possible for such group targets and organizational targets to be on your scorecard. But there should be a distinction in your conversation with your supervisor, what those group targets, what the group targets are and what the individual targets are. I hope that the question is answered.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So for instance, if the entire organization is aiming at, let's say, achieving more than 100% profitability, it's not out of place for HR to put that on the scorecard of all employees. Once the organization achieves that, you have also achieved it. If the organization does not achieve that, that will be there. But in your discussion with your supervisor, it should be clear that this is an organization-wide target. This is not your individual target. In relation to key performance indicators, it is possible for you to have key performance indicators that targets are not set against. So it's not all the KPIs that will have targets. Your supervisor will set a target for each year. So for instance, in the past year, you may have certain indicators that had targets against them, but for the following year, because of the strategic direction of the organization, you may not have targets for those indicators. So it's possible to see a scorecard where, let's say, there's a financial perspective, there are financial indicators, but for that particular year, that person does not have any targets for that particular indicator. If you are satisfied
Hello?
with the answer. Yeah, hello, I can hear you, please. Please proceed
Please, I
with
want
your
to
question.
come with one last question. Sorry?
Yeah, please proceed with your question.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sending it on the page again. Just a minute. So when needing multiple sites, what KPI do you standardize across all locations to manage daily performance, and why?
You said when needing what?
The question, if
When
I
needing
may
multiple
repeat.
sites.
Needing
I'm sending it
multiple.
on the chat.
Okay.
Site, like departments.
Can I please answer
What
that one?
what KPIs?
You see, each site, it depends on what the site is set up to achieve. For example, it may be the same organization, but different site. If one site is dealing in gold and the other site is dealing in investment, your KPI surely will not be the same. So it's dependent on the structures of the organization and what each site is set up for. Then you can come up with the different KPIs that will lead to those targets being achieved. That's my view.
I think that is a good answer because, I mean, if you look at, even just looking at, I shared job description, the fact that a job description is accompanied by the key performance indicators. So the different sides of an organization, even departments within an organization, have different KPIs. So the KPIs are associated with the work that the department is supposed to do. So just as he has indicated, it's not really about the site, but the function of that business unit of the organization.
But from the question is, I think it's also asking whether there's a possibility to have a standardized KPIs that will be applicable to all the sites. I think that is also something that is being asked from the question, the way the question is posted.
Okay, so KPIs are derived from the function. So the KPIs of the accounting unit, or if you say site, it means location, but KPIs are not based on just location, they are based on function.
Sure.
So it's not really the site or the location,
but
it
the
is the
responsibility.
function, the business, yes, the function of the business determines the key performance indicators.
So is it possible to have standardized KPIs for that? I mean, that applies to all departments, despite the fact that they may be having different functions or responsibilities. Is it possible?
So it's possible to have some organizations. For instance, let me give you an example. In some banks, everybody, regardless of your function, has a financial target. So there's an indicator, a financial indicator, and a financial target, regardless of your role. So for instance, if you're a customer service officer, or even if you're, let's say, a credit officer, you have a financial target. And that financial target is, it's acquisition. It's not just like a budget variance or cost control, but it's actually money that you bring in. Okay. But In other banks, they don't have financial targets for everybody because there are some people whose work has nothing to do with, acquisition of or bringing in of money. So depending on the policy of an organization, a particular indicator can be set for the entire organization. A particular indicator could be set for the entire organization. However, in most cases, your indicators are set based on your job description. I hope your question is answered.
Yes, please. Okay, so I want to mute everybody again, so you unmute.
So that we can continue.
Yes, please.
And
Kindly
please,
unmute and continue.
those who have turned on their cameras should also turn them off, please. Thank you.
Please, final one. Please, Madam Selina, we'll be very happy if you use more practical examples to help in our presentation for clear understanding, please. Thank you so much.
That is fine. I thought, I don't know if you saw the performance contract the Word version of the performance contract, because
no, please, for me, no.
No, please.
It wasn't displayed because it wasn't displayed. If you can come back again with that, please. Sorry.
I have a question, please.
Oh, please, I beg you. Somebody has just said something. She's going to respond. Madam, should we continue to take the questions? After all,
please, are we going to get a presentation?
I don't know
slides?
how many minutes we Yes,
are we going
please.
to get, together with the additional documents
the recorded, yes.
Not the recorded version, the other document.
You get the
not just that one, the other documents
the slides. The slides, so
the slides, and then the other Word documents she's using for the demonstration.
Please, co-host, I have a question that just
Selina.
feeds into the KPIs, please.
Madam Selina.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I hope your slides can be shared.
Yes, I will share an abridged version with you. And then,
okay.
Yes, I'll share, but the templates they are referring to, I'll share that because that's a very practical, just as he's indicating, he wants to see a practical one. So that one, it actually has the indicators and then the targets. So it gives them a feel of the contract, how a contract looks like. Because most of you did not see it, I'll try to see if I can bring that up again.
Okay.
So that you can.
So I want to.
Can I please ask my question, please?
No, please, kindly wait. I want to mute everybody. Then you unmute and finish up so that maybe when it is about 2:25. We can spend the 35 minutes to take more questions so that we'll be sure you are done.
That sounds
Madam,
like
is
a
that
good
okay?
plan. Yes, that's a good plan.
All right. Okay, so when it's 2:25, then we will pause and take the questions. So, senior man, sorry, let's allow Madam to complete her presentation and show you whatever you could not see properly so that we can take the final round of questions and end. Thank you so much. So I'm going to unmute all of you. Kindly do not I'm going to mute all of you. Kindly do not unmute until Madam is done with her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, I'm trying.
Please unmute before you talk.
So sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. So I'm trying to show a sample performance contract in Word version. I showed one in Excel as part of the presentation, but because it's clumsy, I want to show a word template so that you see how it looks like. I think I've showed this already, and while I was showing it, someone alerted me that it was too small and that I should increase it. So please, I will need your feedback so that I can determine if you can see. Please, is it
Yes, Maud.
visible
We can.
enough?
Yes,
Yes,
very
You can
visible
see,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
So you see the full name of the individual, the staff number, the job title, the department. So this employee is an administrative officer at the Career Services Center. The line manager is my good self. And then the contracted period is January to December 2026. Okay. So the contracted key performance indicators. Okay, where you have measure actually should be a key performance indicator. So, like I indicated, various companies have weightings for the various perspectives. So, you see under the financial perspective, there's a target, there's an indicator here. So I just have one indicator and then
Am I the only
one
person who
target.
can see?
Yes, I think,
You
Madam,
talking
you
about?
have to stop sharing the PowerPoint
Yeah, because some of us we can't see
because we are still not seeing that
seeing
word
anything. Yes,
document.
that you are
So
sharing. We
probably
can
stop
see.
sharing the PowerPoint and let's see how it goes. Thank you.
Well, I can still not see anything.
Madam, please, are you able to zoom it beyond its current state?
I'm not sure it's about zooming. The main slide that she is showing is not the one she is actually presenting. That is not the word version of the scorecard she's trying to present. So if something can be done about it.
Yeah, I think what mommy is saying
Please,
is
can we
different.
see now?
We are seeing it now.
You are
Now you
seeing
can
it.
see.
We can now see it.
That
Yes,
is fine.
madam, you can see.
Okay,
Good.
that's
I
fine.
beg you, all of you who are muted, kindly mute. Please, all of you should mute quickly so that I don't mute everyone again. So kindly mute and allow her to flow. Now you can see. Thank you.
Okay, so we have the performance, the title, performance contract, we have the name of the staff number, job title, an administrative officer at the Career Services Center. The line manager is myself, and then the contracted period is January to December 2026. Now, the key performance indicator. So like I indicated, some companies have a weighting on each perspective. So a company can decide based on their plan for the year to say put a weighting of say 75 on the financial. In this case, it is a weighting of 25%, and the indicator for this particular employee is budget utilization efficiency, and the target is 95%. Now, if you go back to the Excel spreadsheet that I shared in the presentation, in addition to the column that allows for the key performance indicator to be indicated and then the target, there are two more columns for mid-year review and then end of year review. So the actual for the mid-year review will be indicated against the target. And then at the end of the year, the target for the end of year review would also be indicated. Then for the customer perspective, the indicator for this employee is student satisfaction with services. The student satisfaction with services, and the target is 85%. So what you see as the actual means that the evaluation has been done and the employee scored 80%. But in the Excel spreadsheet that I shared, there are two sections actually for recording the actuals. There's a section for the mid-year review, and then the section for this section for the end of year review. So against the target, the actual will be indicated. And just as I mentioned before, when the target is set as a manager, you have to ensure that there's a way of determining if the employee has met that target. So if in this case you are setting a target for student satisfaction, how will you know that the students are satisfied? You must maybe you will conduct a survey and then review, the responses submitted by students to determine if the employee has met the target. Under internal processes, this employee is supposed to has an indicator of timely processing of requests, and the target is 90%. Under innovation and learning, the employee has the indicator is participation in training and improvement initiatives. The target is 3 trainings. And then, as I indicated in my presentation, it's not only the KPIs that are rated. The behavioral competencies are also rated, or the core values of the organization are also rated. So you see in this scorecard, beneath the KPIs, we have the core values of the organization, and they are actually described. And so there's also a rating scale for that. And the employee is scored against the various core values. Then, as I indicated in the scorecard, the responsibilities of the employee must be indicated, and this should guide the manager in setting the targets for the employee, so that you're guided to set targets that are within the remit of the responsibilities of the employee. Then the developmental goals. There are specific actions that this employee is required to undertake. The developmental needs of the employee to improve data reporting and analysis skills. And that will be done by attending basic data analysis training and also applying reporting skills to quarterly report. And under that, you see the declaration where the employee will sign, and then the line manager would also sign. So this is a performance, typical performance contract. The ones I have seen are usually in Excel template, but this is how it looks like. So let me quickly go back to the presentation and then I can share with you I don't know yet. So this is a scorecard. So as I indicated, you see these are the key performance indicators: the financial, customer, internal business processes, and innovation and learning. So this is where the indicators will be, and then the measures. What would show that the employee has achieved that particular the target, and then you set the target.
Madam, please, your screen is not shared. Please look at it.
Okay, so please kindly help me. What do you see now? Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
We are still seeing the contract.
We are still seeing the
Word document. The Word document.
Word document you shared.
Okay.
Unless maybe you pull this down and then.
Okay, just give me a second.
So it's okay. Kindly unmute again and allow her to do the needful. Thank you.
Please, do you see the presentation now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I have it in presentation mode. Do you see that now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Yes. So back to the Excel template. You see, we have the details of the employee. Then we have the key performance indicators section. We have the financial perspective, customer perspective, internal business processes, innovation and learning. And earlier I had indicated organizations are adding more perspectives like sustainability and diversion, equity and inclusion. Then we have the measures. The measures will be, what would show that the employee has achieved the target. Then we have the target. Then we have the actual. Okay. Then the percentage achieved. So, and then we have the score. So in the word template that I shared, you would see that we have the scores in there. Then we have the behavioral requirements and then the core responsibilities. This is where you put the core responsibilities. Then we have the development plans, this as you saw in the word template. Okay, so your goals are supposed to be SMART. You ensure that they are specific, and by specific we mean that they should be clear and very well understood, and they should be precise. They should be measurable. You, as a manager or as a supervisor, you shouldn't set a goal that you will not be able to measure. Whenever you set a goal, you should always ask yourself, how would we determine if this goal has been attained? So you should always keep that in mind. Somebody just set goals without being mindful of how the goals, the attainment of the goals will be determined. So going back to the example of the Word document that I shared, there's a portion where the employee is supposed to have a rating of 95% from students with regards to their satisfaction on the services that he or she has delivered. As a manager, when you set such a target, you should ask yourself, how would I determine that the students are satisfied? Am I going to use a survey tool? Am I going to use a device that the employees, that students coming in would, that will allow students coming in to indicate their level of satisfaction of the services being rendered to them. So as you set the targets, you must be mindful of how you collect information to determine that target has been attained. And so we have what we call the portfolio of evidence. The employee goes into an appraisal session with evidence indicating that the work has been done. And another question you should ask, is this target achievable? It's good to set ambitious targets for employees, but you have to ask yourself as a manager or a supervisor, is this target achievable? And are there sufficient resources to make this happen? If you set very ambitious targets, you must be mindful that those targets require resources to be attained. Are you providing the resources that are required to attain those targets? The targets must be realistic. It must be, the individual should have the capacity to perform the target. It should be sensible. I mean, within your business context, it should be attainable. Yeah. And the target must also be timely. I mean, there are things that take time to be achieved. Bringing in funds, for instance, there are times that it takes 2 years, 3 years to achieve, to bring in funding. If you set a goal for an employee to bring in funds within 2 weeks, you should ask yourself the period, the deadline you are assigning to a particular target, is it feasible? So these are some of the questions you should ask yourself as you are setting a target for an employee, or if at work a target is also being assigned to you. You want to ask, you want to consider if it is timely, if it is realistic, if it's attainable, if it is specific, and if it is measurable. Okay, I think we've seen the development, but some companies would even have a full development template for employees. I tried to share, to put one together and to share that with you. So I will do that. I just don't want to be going in between word, how do you call it, moving between Word and PowerPoint. So I'll finish the presentation, and once I'm done, I'll go to that development, the template for putting together the development needs of an employee. Even though you'd realize that that is also captured in the performance contracting process. I think we've gone through this monitoring schedule, and it's actually a question by one of the participants that brought me to the monitoring schedule. So all along we've been talking about the planning phase, which ends with contracting, or the objective setting phase, which ends with contracting. So that's the first phase of performance management. Then you come to the monitoring. So the monitoring is, just as I shared, some companies will have monthly reviews. Some companies do quarterly reviews. And both the employee and the supervisor are responsible for ensuring that such reviews occur. Human Resources Department is the watchdog for ensuring that those reviews occur. So they're supposed to do monthly reviews or quarterly reviews. And then after those reviews, the employee is supposed to submit a report. Reports are usually generated. Departmental reports, individual reports are usually generated and filed to as evidence that those reviews have taken place. Then we come to the third component, which is measuring, and that is the appraisal. Usually when we say performance management, people say appraisal, but appraisal is part of the third component, which is measuring. Okay, so the appraisal is usually a conversation by the supervisor and the employee, guided by the performance contract and the rating scale. Yeah. So there's usually a mid-year appraisal and a final year appraisal, and employees are advised when they are going into such a discussion to go with their portfolio of evidence and if possible the rating scale as well. Some companies have very well defined rating scale, so as your boss is rating, you also have the rating scale, and you are able to agree that, oh, this is a 3, this is a 5, this is a 10, and this is a 1. Okay, but employees are advised to go into such sessions with the portfolio of evidence, or the things that they have achieved, to back their performance. This is a sample rating scale. I'll show others as well. Okay, so there's a score, there's a rating, there's a descriptor, and there's a full description of the rating. So if you look at this rating scale, 2 to 3 is a good performance, and the rating is G. And that means that you fully met all the key performance indicator targets and behavioral requirements. Performance is consistently at a very good level, often exceeding some of the requirements of the role. When you score 1 to 2, then it's an A, average performance. And that means that you partially met some, but not all KPI target and behavioral requirements, sometimes generally capable of performing at the desired level. And on this rating scale, the poor performance is R, and that's 1. Means that you fail to meet even the minimum requirements of the KPI targets and required behavioral standards. So that is a sample rating scale. There's also another sample rating scale. There's A for top performer, B for highly competent performers, C for competent performers, D for low performers, E for exit, support, and all that. And they are descriptors to the rating. So A, top performer, means that this top performer is a role model, demonstrates high level of performance, job competence, and consistently adds value in line with the scope of job responsibilities and expectations. I can go on and on and on. There's the description of the B, description of the C, description of the D, description of the E, on and on and on. But the rating scale, it guides the scoring against the indicators and then the core values. And so appraisals are guided by the rating scale and then also by the performance contract that was signed by both the supervisor and the employee. Okay. So performance improvement. Not all, it's good for organizations to have a performance improvement program. And a performance improvement program is targeted at those who are consistently not able to meet their targets. Okay, consistently unable to meet their targets. So there are 4 main steps. The first is clarifying the performance gaps and action plans. And then you continue to monitor the employee. You continue the performance review sessions. And then if the performance of the employee does not improve, you can recommend as a manager possible actions for the organization to take. And some examples of poor performance include inaccuracy in the work produced, regularly unfinished work, missed deadlines, not responding to communications within an agreed time frame, a lack of preparation for meetings, a failure to give constructive feedback to employees, that's in the case of supervisors and all colleagues, and we have the missing deadlines already, a failure to communicate progress on tasks or failure to communicate progress on tasks. So going over that again, because some of us work in environments that all these things are taken for granted: inaccuracy in the work produced, regularly unfinished work, missed deadlines, not responding to communications within a agreed time frame, a lack of preparation for meetings, a failure to give constructive feedback, and then a failure to communicate progress. So these are some of examples of poor performance. Yeah. Then failure to address poor performance means that there's going to be low level of efficiency within the team. There's going to be increased workload for some members of the team. And there will also be low customer satisfaction with the services of the organization. So there could be various reasons for poor performance: personal problems, recent occupation of the role, significant changes in the role, and then, in medical conditions. So in some organizations, the employee is placed on probation, and the probation period is guided by the 4 steps that I shared. There's also constant counseling of the employee. there's the monitoring, which I indicated, monthly monitoring, which is the outcomes, the discussions of the monitoring process are documented. And if after the period, it's different for different organizations. If after the period you still don't see any improvement, the employee can be terminated. There are various ways through which performance can be rewarded. Promotions, notch increments, and when I say notch increments, could be notch increments in salary, pay for performance, bonuses, and then sanctions for non-performance. So I think that we have now covered the various components of performance management and the entire performance management process. There could be grievances arising out of performance appraisals. Usually, the aggrieved employee will hold a meeting with their supervisor, and if they are not satisfied with the resolution, it can be escalated to the next level supervisor, and then it could go to human resources that will set up a committee to, or the appraisals. In some organizations, there's the appraisal committee. Appraisal committee could look into the matter, or HR could set up a committee to look into the matter and, resolve it. And the final point of call could be the CEO or the managing director. So I think that I've sufficiently exhausted the appraisal components and processes. I would, at this point, try to share the personal development documents. Please just give me a second to share the staff development.
Okay, sure. Okay, sure, please.
And then we can end with questions. Please, can we see the staff development template?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so we have the details of the employee again. We have the key performance gaps or development areas. Then you need to identify the skills, knowledge, or competencies that need improvement. So the development area in this case for the employee is report writing. And then the description of the gap. Reports lack clarity and structure. So it means that this particular employee, whenever he or she has, churned down reports, the report lacks clarity and structure. Okay, so the development objectives: improve professional report writing, and that is linked to the person's administrative efficiency. So development activities: what activities will be performed by the appraisee or the employee to improve the report writing competence? One, he or she is going to attend report writing workshop. Okay, the type of workshop, it's a training. And who is going to provide that training? HR. Or it's going to be provided by an external consultant. The timeline for that and who is responsible for that, you have to indicate the start date and then the end date. So report writing workshop, the start date, the end date, and the responsible person is the employee, the supervisor. You could also add human resources. HR is responsible for providing that training. And then the resources required. What resources are required to enable that training to take place? Training materials are required. Who is going to provide those resources? The department. In this case, it is going to be covered by the department. The department will provide that. Then what are the success indicators? How will we measure the improvement? Improved quality of reports. Okay, that's the indicator that the person's report should be improved. We should see a significant improvement in the report that are churned out by the employee. And how will we measure that? The measurement method is by a review by the supervisor.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, please.
Yes, please. Zoom user, what is the issue?
Okay, so
maybe
sure.
Yes, you can continue.
Yes. So how do we measure the success? We measure by a review of the supervisor, and then review and follow up. Okay, so this is where the supervisor will indicate the date on which this development, the development needs template or the development of the employee was reviewed, and then the supervisor comments on the progress that has been made. Is signed both by the employee and the supervisor. So the sample template for reviewing the development needs of an employee. I think at this point, I will pause for questions.
Hello, madam.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, so I asked a previous question earlier on the how the history performance of a company or of an institution can feed into the setting of KPIs, either for the company or for individuals.
That's as in the past performance of an organization.
Exactly. So for instance, the say last year's performance, and then we are now going to set new KPIs for the year or new KPI for employees. How can the two be connected? Should it be always a grounds that okay, the performance of this year was good, so we should aim higher, or the performance of this year based on certain conditions was bad, and so we intend to put in new measures, so we should aim higher. How does it all of this come into play when setting up new KPIs for the year?
It's not out of place for an organization to introduce, let's say, a KPI or two for all, staff based on their past performance or based on their experience. But
can I please add up?
Okay, please, I'll round up right now and then you can add on.
Okay.
It's not out of place for an organization to do that. Like I indicated in when answering one of the questions, an organization can determine that, oh, this year we didn't, for instance, a bank can say that this year we didn't meet our financial target. So next year we are setting a financial target for everybody, regardless of your role or your function. But it's best that KPIs are aligned to the functions of or the job descriptions of individuals within the organization. That is the best practice, but it's not out of place for an organization to indicate to introduce a target or an indicator of, let's say, sustainability for everybody within the organization because of their past experience or past performance. Yes, so someone wants to add on. You can go ahead.
Okay,
Please.
what I wanted to add on is the fact that organizations operate with goal settings. So if the past year performance have actually caused the organizations to look at their scope of operations, it certainly would have effect on the new KPIs being set. Certain happenings within the past years, for example, if you had a fine from a regulator, if EPA, for example, fined your organization based on certain practices or certain KPIs that you did not meet as far as regulations are concerned, then surely these things may find their way into the setting up of KPIs just to ensure that the organizations does not fall back into those negative paths. Thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank
think
you very much for that
I think
contribution.
your add-on is clear. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, this is Samuel. Please, I wanted to find out at what point will an organization put a staff on attitudinal PIP? Attitudinal PIP. Thank you.
Please, can you come again with the question? It wasn't very clear.
Yes, I was asking, in an organization, at what point can a supervisor put a staff on attitudinal PIP?
He's referring to attitude of an employee. And in other words, it is the performance management. So Madam indicated during the presentation that if you consistently fail to meet your target, and in this case, let's say your behavior is in contrast, sharp contrast to that of the business ethics, and the business is trying to manage you to bring you back in line with their ethic processes, then you fall within that space where we are looking specifically at your behavior, whether they will change within a certain time frame. If not, like Madam just said, a decision will be made. If you improve, fair enough. If not, you are likely to be shown the exit.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much for that response. I actually didn't get the word attitudinal right, so I think it confused me a bit. I heard attitudinal, but just as is indicated, the what, the how is as important to organizations as the what. The manner in which you achieve your KPIs or your technical targets is as important as the attainment of the technical targets, which is why organizations will put in the scorecard the core values. So it's not out of place for the organization to show you the door if eventually they are managing your behavior and they realize that, you are not complying. It's not out of place for them to show you. But just as he's indicated, it will be dependent on your ratings when it comes to the behavioral competencies or the core values. If your ratings when it comes to the behaviors are constantly low, then of course you'll be put on a PIP. Okay. I think you wanted to ask a follow-up question.
Yes, hello, please.
Yes.
Yeah, Ma, I wanted to ask this. I know a supervisor, when targets are being given in the financial sector, this boss is very good in terms of, strategizing for the team to meet and exceed those KPIs. But in terms of his attitude, in fact, it's far below. If escalated to HR, this boss have been put on PIP in terms of attitude. So HR realized that, no, in terms of the manager and the team deliver the target, he's always on task. But in terms of attitude, it's not from one person, not from two. It's a department, which is more than at least 50 people. And each and everyone keeps complaining. So HR realized that, no, this supervisor needs to be transferred from one region to another. So the moment the letter came, it's because of his attitude. He said, no, I cannot continue. So he resigned. So I wanted to find out, not about, the performance. In terms of performance, this man is good. But in terms of attitude, it's far below the tax. So can an organizational structure, force, let's say, a supervisor or a manager in regard to attitude to, resign from his or her duty? Thank you.
Hello, ma. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
I think someone has asked a question. Kindly allow her to respond before you come.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Vincent.
Kindly hold on.
All right, ma.
Someone has asked a question. Kindly allow her to attend to that, and then you will come.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Madam Selina.
This is my husband.
It appears I can't see Madam Selina. Kindly hold on. Allow her to come back and then we can continue. I have seen David Sefa Jane's hand, but please kindly hold on.
Hello.
Please.
Our batteries are low. Can't you give us a minute break, please?
We will close at 3.
We are almost done.
Yes, we will close at 3.
20 minutes left.
We have about 20 minutes to go, and the presenter seems to have lost contact here. So kindly hold on a moment. Or maybe you want us to take some 3 minutes break while we wait for her to return.
Oh, let us wait for her.
I think that will be the best. Let's wait for Madam to come back.
No, please.
Let us wait for her. She will come and wrap up, then we close.
Let's wait for her.
Good. All right. So kindly wait while we try to make contact with her.
Somebody was asking if we are going to write an exam on this.
No, please. You will not write exams on this. Those who joined from the beginning.
How about getting
those who
access to
joined
the
from the beginning? Please wait.
I'm
Those
so
who
sorry.
joined from the beginning.
I went off for a while.
Yes. Thank you. Our presenter is here, and let me just conclude that we are not going to write exams on this. Those who joined from the beginning, I told you the rationale for this exercise. It is just to create an avenue for you to be exposed to what is in the real world situation so far as the things that you are studying here is concerned. So professional add-ons is just to expose you to real world experiences in the things that you are learning here in school. So there won't be exams on this. And then arrangements will be made for you to have access to the audio and the slides, possibly if it has to be done. So kindly let us wrap up. Madam is back here. I don't know whether, Madam, please, do you remember the last question before you went off?
I think the person was is on the second question on attitudinal performance improvement.
Yes, please.
So he narrated that example where the gentleman was meeting the financial targets but was not meeting the behavioral targets and was transferred. So he was asking a question after that, and then I went off. I didn't get the question. I'm sorry.
Okay, in that case, please, senior man, kindly ask the question again. If
Doc,
he's
thank
not
you.
here, all right.
Doc, please, I'm here. I just wanted to find out, in a situation like this, a supervisor who is good in terms of meeting all those KPIs, and in terms of attitude is far below the company standard. Can there be any, let's say a committee to work on this, or it just warrant, or the system will just force the person to just resign? I just wanted you to clarify such an incident for me.
Normally, just as I shared in the performance improvement process, you'll be given a period of time to try and work on your weaknesses. You'll be supported through counseling. Your supervisor will set targets for you. And when it comes to that area you are deficient in this case, your behaviors, your supervisor will set targets for you. You'll be supported with counseling as well. But if after the period that you've been given to improve your attitude, no change is seen, and the organization believes that reasonable support and effort has been, extended to help you to change, and you haven't changed, you'll be shown the door. Unfortunately, you will be shown the door. HR will have to make that hard decision of letting you go. HR will have to make that hard decision of letting you go. I have had the opportunity. I saw a case like that on a rationalization project. And I give this example severally. It was a World Bank funded project. And this was some 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, where people were earning $4,000, $4,500, $5,000 US. And as you know, I was working with a team of consultants to help to rationalize, the organization. Rationalization really is that process where you determine what functions within the organization are necessary, the people that should stay, the functions, the people that should stay, just to ensure efficiency. So usually after rationalization, a lot of people lose their jobs. We have to make a case for the functions that should remain, the people that should remain. And I witnessed a case like that. It was an engineer that in our review of his performance, I mean, he was, in terms of the key KPIs, he was doing very well. But there was constant complaint from the entire team. And we realized that his attitude was affecting the entire team. Unfortunately, he had to go. So I have seen a case like that. There are times where HR has to make that hard decision of letting the employee go, because it's not only the what that is important to the organization. If the behaviors are not important, the organization will not spend time to come up with the core values and even, come up with descriptors. If you look at international organizations, they go into depth in describing, the core values. So the core values are also important. You'll be given a time frame to change. If you're not able to, HR has to make, that call. And if HR does not, in a very well-established institution, the HR may be seen as a weak HR. The HR may be seen as a weak human resources professional. The question HR will have to ask is that, well, don't we have other people who can achieve what this person is achieving? Can we compromise our values for this person to stay? So in more
Yeah, I think Madam is right. I won't mention the company where I work. We've lost our HR in this same exact point Madam have just made. But the question I wanted to ask the person who asked this question is that if you go to the counter in any bank, what sort of behavior do you expect at the counter? And would you want to consistently be faced with a person whose attitude and behavior are in sharp contrast to that specific organization? So in the first place, how did the guy even become a supervisor? Because supervisors are the frontline managers working with the employees. So attitude is key. But like what has been said already, sometimes you use the organizational structures to give people opportunity to improve. But failure to improve becomes a cost. And therefore, like she said, you'll be shown the way.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much for adding. Yes.
Hello, ma.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Kindly hold on. It looks like our resource person is off again.
Well, I'm here.
Okay.
Please,
Okay,
I'm
ma.
here. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My name is Vincent.
Vincent, you can go ahead.
Okay, my name is Vincent. I want to find out something. This is the issue. For how long should somebody be on the platform of probation and organization? And what are the reasons why probations are being given out to employees in organization? Number three, I have an issue at hand now that my manager asked me to employ a lady to handle a particular department. The lady is doing very well. When she came out, we've seen a tremendous change in everything that we're doing in the organization. But all of a sudden, she started misbehaving towards the manager. She doesn't greet the woman. She doesn't even show any better attitude towards her. And before I came back from one of the trips, the woman just issued a letter to her that she should leave the organization. Yet this lady was performing well. Please, I want to find out. This thing brought an issue between my manager and I, and up to now we are trying to resolve it. I want to find out how should this thing be handled, please.
Okay. So the question is about your subordinate. So I'm guessing that this person who was sacked was your direct report.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know the size of the organization. We have what we call summary dismissal.
Okay.
And summary dismissal is attracted by what we call gross misconduct.
Okay.
And the organizations will have their own policies on what contributes to gross misconduct. So we have ordinary misconduct and we have gross misconduct. So if somebody grossly misconducts himself or herself, it can attract what we call summary dismissal. And summary dismissal is you are outrightly dismissed. You are not giving we don't set up a committee to look into what you've done. I mean, summary dismissal means that, you are sacked. Okay. Ordinary misconduct, for ordinary misconduct, a lot of the times you are giving some time to change. You are given some time to address the challenges. Okay, so for instance, you are not punctual to work. Okay, if the organization sees that in its policy as ordinary misconduct, you will be given some time based on the organization's policies to change that attitude. But where let's say disrespect or disregard of your supervisor is seen as gross misconduct and is actually determined that you disrespected your manager, the organization can outrightly dismiss you. Normally, if it's a big organization, committees are set because anybody could say that even in cases like sexual harassment, which is gross misconduct, an allegation can be made. Somebody can allege that, oh, you harassed them sexually. Usually organizations will give you that hearing because they know that, well, somebody can actually, somebody who wants you to be fired can allege that you've done something when you haven't done it. So some organizations would have that internal process that allows for HR or management or a certain committee to determine that what you did, what the person said you did was actually true before you are summarily dismissed. So I don't know the size of the organization, and I don't know if this person is the CEO. But normally in well-established and big organizations, there will be a process to determine that the misconduct, the behavior actually. We'll be glad if Sandra could mute.
Please, I've muted them. You can go on.
Okay.
Please. Sorry.
Yes. So I don't know the size of the organization.
Yeah.
I don't know the size of the organization, but no.
Please, those of you who are tired, kindly leave us, okay? Stop disturbing us with the feedback from your spaces. Madam Selena, please, are you here?
Oh, I was actually talking. I didn't realize that I was on. So this can be viewed from both. It can be viewed from a disciplinary point of view, and the employee could be seen as having misconducted herself. It could also be seen from the performance point of view if the company has any value bordering on respect and respect of authority. But I'm seeing this more from a disciplinary perspective. It is not right to disrespect your superior. And ignoring your superior, not greeting your superior, it's disrespect. And for some organizations, that is gross misconduct. And if that is the established to have happened, it could attract summary dismissal. But what the process is within that organization is what I can tell.
Okay. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. This is a education institution.
Wait.
Okay.
Is this Vincent?
Yes, this is Vincent. So
Kindly go on.
This is an educational institution whereby the school owner really has an issue with educational background. It's only not really. So the girl that she sacked is really happy. Now we sack the girl. There's no other teacher who can even take up that particular class. And performance is really well. So she not really educated, is really having a challenge with me in the organization. That's why I want to find out how this thing could be handled. So thank you so much.
So very well-established organizations are very careful when they are dismissing people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have consulted in HR for years, but I've also been in an HR administrative position, and I've had to deal with labor commission hearings and all those things. So I know that when an organization is very well established, you would want to avoid, those instances where you are summoned by the labor commission to come and answer why you have fired somebody and all that. And that is why organizations don't up and sack people. they want to give you time to change. If it's the behavior is not gross misconduct. And they don't just give you the time to change, but they document that process, the conversations that they have with you, indicating that they have communicated with you that gap that they have realized, they have given you time, they have had discussions with you, so that just in case you decide to go to the Labor Commission or the Labor Department to file a case, they have that evidence to show that, look, this was the attitude we saw, we communicated, we gave the person time, and the person did not change, which is why we fired that person. So if this person feels that he or she was not, rightly terminated, they have that freedom to go to the Labor Department to support.
Okay.
But they have that freedom to go to the Labor Department to support. But hearing what you said, I would say that she was also not right to disrespect her boss. I mean, if your boss is doing something that you're not happy with, there are proper and more civil ways of communicating your grievance.
Yes,
you need to have that conversation with your boss and be able to spell out that, oh, I'll be glad. I mean, I'm not happy with A, I'm not happy with B, I'm not happy with C. But to see your boss and to ignore your boss and not talk to your boss, I don't think any boss would like to take that.
Thank you so much,
Madam, I want to state this for our understanding and also appreciation of the current happenings in the various institutions and organizations. Now, as Africans, as Ghanaians, sometimes you get into an organization, you are given a contract letter that defines your role, what you are allowed to do and what you are not allowed to do, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. But in my case, I've seen a lot of young men and women gain employment, and in the next few months or year, they look back. He is related to one politician here or there, or and therefore the negative attitude begins to show up, forgetting, as you said, that the organizations also document all these things. Even the performance appraiser also can highlight some of these things as your weaknesses. And like Madam said, you'll be given time to, correct yourself. If not, we must understand that everything that has a beginning has an end. So all of us, over 700 people on this platform, must understand that using our position, we must use it carefully. We must understand what the organization is seeking to achieve and not bring in our religious affiliations, political affiliations. You'll be gone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with him. When I started consulting, I thought that intelligence, your ability to meet your targets when it comes to your KPIs were valued over attitude. But over time, I realized that, yes, organizations and managers want people who are intelligent and who can meet the targets. But they prefer to work with people who have the right attitude, who will give them, let's say, a little above average than those who will give them top performance and not have the right attitude. And that instance, that rationalization we did for that World Bank funded project, it taught me a lot. That you can be intelligent, you can, have all the technical experience, all the technical know-how, the knowledge, but if you don't have the right attitude, you'll be shown the door, and somebody who is a little lower than you in terms of technical competence but has the right attitude will be brought in and groomed, to fill your position. That's what I realized, over the years. So attitude is very important. Attitude is very, very important.
What if the attitude gap is from the senior level senior level, top level class. That attitude gap is from that place.
Okay.
How do you, because the attitude error is from that place, and how do you manage? Then you yourself can now have to now recruit yourself, right?
Good. Emma, your point is well made.
Yes. So, so that becomes a grievance, and within an organization, there are ways of getting your grievances redressed. Okay. So if it's with your immediate supervisor, you may want to go to human resources to have it redressed. If this person is part of senior management but is not the CEO or the MD, yes, when HR will be your first point of call. If the person is not your immediate supervisor, yes, your immediate supervisor, but HR is also one of the places that you go to. And then the chief CEO can come in if you feel like HR has not addressed your grievance sufficiently. If the person we're talking about is the CEO, then you have to start looking at some external labor department or something to redress. I had the opportunity of interacting with one journalist. It's a sport journalist. I don't want to mention his name. He's a journalist that I'm sure all of us know. I was designing a performance management system for that organization. Is a group of companies in the media space. So in my conversation with him, we're coming up with KPIs for his subordinates and all that. So in my conversation with him, he said something. He said, well, I don't want to be that person within that organization that is always complaining about something. If I find, I see a gap, I will talk about it once, twice, but when it gets to the point where it begins to look like I'm the person complaining all the time, when there's actually a problem, that is my cue to exit. So people have that personal policy that, well, I will complain about the issue, maybe I'll cascade it once or twice, but if I realize that it's growing into something that, I'll just exit, I'll find another organization that aligns with my values and I will just exit. However, companies have internal processes for redressing grievances, and you want to exhaust that. If you feel that the head of the organization is the problem, then the labor department is the place that you can go to, and they'll be there to defend, to defend your rights. Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, I think hello.
Hold on. It's 4 minutes past 3. Madam, I think we should be drawing the curtains down. If there is no compelling clarification on something, we may not be taking further questions.
True, sir.
Yes.
Please, I have a question.
Is there any compelling?
Please, I have a question.
Madam, should we take
yes,
a question?
Please. This could be our last question.
All right.
A last question.
So, yes, please.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please, I'm much grateful for your work this very afternoon. Please, my question is, with the last question, last two questions the gentleman asked, can we outsource or can a company outsource its performance to another people to do the assessment for the company, just to avoid this person knowing a politician, knowing an influential person who can maybe come in to just beg for the person? So can the company outsource its what do you call it, performance or monitoring staff to another company so that to avoid the human face that comes into play? Can it be?
Some aspects could be outsourced, but not entirely. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. So some aspects of the entire performance process can be outsourced, but it's not everything you can outsource. And the reason I'm saying this is because you can outsource the implementation of the performance management, process to an external party, but in the internal players will still be needed because that external person is not working with you all the time. You are working with your supervisor all the time. When it comes to rating, in fact, in some organizations, we have what we call the 360 degree, feedback or rating process, where you are rated by your colleagues, your supervisor, and then also by your subordinate. I have had the opportunity of sitting in performance contracting processes as a consultant, having designed the performance management system for an organization, supporting the supervisors to set targets for their employees. So I've had the opportunity of sitting in that meeting where the supervisor has that conversation with the employee and set the targets. And then I've also had the opportunity of sitting in that meeting where the performance is reviewed. But the thing is that in the review of the performance, sometimes the supervisor's input is very important. Because the work is done with you and your supervisor, it's very difficult for an external person to determine everything without your supervisor's involvement. I hope you understand. In some cases, we have what we call the calibration committee. In some organizations, we have the performance calibration committee because there are disputes that arise out of performance appraisals. That committee will sit down because sometimes an employee and the supervisor may not agree on certain ratings. I have seen such instances where an employee and the supervisor do not agree on certain ratings, and the calibration committee has to come in, or the supervisor would have to explain to the calibration committee that, well, I gave this rating because of so and so and so. So aspects can be outsourced. However, because the day-to-day work is between the employee and the supervisor, it's very difficult to have the supervisor totally out of, the performance appraisal process. The involvement of the employee and the supervisor will still be needed in the appraisal process. So you can have an external party supporting the implementation process, but there are aspects that you can't have an external person handle entirely for the organization.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Selina Angmo, who is a very experienced human resource professional with technical expertise across multiple HR functions and extensive administrative HR experience. We are so privileged to have had you this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me, sir.
Yes, and you can see the feedback that we got from our students. It shows that you were really very impactful in this whole exercise. We are so happy that the exercise has been very fruitful, and we hope that in subsequent editions, you will be available to take us through other phases of this endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you too for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. To our students, thank you for paying attention to the discussion and then contributing to it. You can see that we did not just listen to Madam, we also added to her expertise, and we all enjoyed this exercise. IDL and the management of IDL is very much impressed about what has transpired today, and we hope that subsequent editions will be as interesting as today. Thank you all, and have a very wonderful day and weekend.
Please, can we hear her name again? Her full name, please.
Please,
Her full name.
her full name is on the flyer. We will share. We will share that again if you don't get. But
yes, we still need her contact. We need her contact.
Her full name is Mrs. Selina Doe Angmo. She's the director of Kane Career. Please take your time. Take your time. While I am talking, you are also asking, how will I hear you? So her full name is Mrs. Selina Doe Angmo. She is the director of Kane University Career Services Center. So you can search for her. The flyer that we use for this exercise will be shared, where you will see her name and her designation, and you can search for her and contact her for subsequent interactions. I don't think this is the right platform to share her contacts. You can contact her. She is the she is the director of Kane University Career Services Center. So she's available for you to search for her and then contact her via other channels. Thank you so much.
Sir, please, are you writing exams on this?
No, you are not writing exams on this.
Sir, please, can we get the video recordings of this meeting?
It will subsequently be shared.
Yeah, I want the presentation.
I think there was a question about whether at the end of our program we'll have the opportunity to meet Madame Selina again, so that the lessons will be fresh on our memories as we exit KNUST.
At the end of your program, whether there will be another professional add-on session where you meet her again.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I am happy you understood me.
Dr. Lee, please, I want to come in. Dr. Lee, just a moment. Please, everyone, pay attention to this. We will be sending you an evaluation form of the professional add-on guest lecture. Kindly complete it. You'll be asked to also indicate your email. You will be asked to also indicate your email. Please do so. The slides and other things may be shared through that. So we'll send you an evaluation form. Kindly complete it. And all the suggestions you have, just put it there for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senior Assistant Registrar. On that note, I think we draw the curtains on this session, and we are grateful to every stakeholder for making this exercise a success. Have a good day and weekend as well. Bye.
Bye.